Today on Alex and Autos, we're taking a look at Volkswagen's low-cost infotainment and navigation system. Now, you will find this system in the Volkswagen Tiguan as well as a number of other Volkswagen products in the United States. Now, the Volkswagen Golf, and that would be the brand new 2015 Golf, does use an entirely new navigation and infotainment system that's more modern than this and has larger screens. Hopefully we'll have a video of that coming up soon, but at the moment this applies to all the lower end Volkswagens, the Tiguan, the Jetta, the EOS, etc. Like most Volkswagen head units, we do use a proprietary Volkswagen MDI cable to interface with your multimedia devices. You can get this in a variety of different forms with Apple connectors or with a USB connector. I'm going to be using this connector with an Apple iPhone Lightning adapter right there, so I can adapt that to my modern iPhone 5. Now, in our particular tester, this system is combined with the Fender audio system. You can no longer get the Dynadio audio system in the 2014 Volkswagen Tiguan. I do think that's a little bit of a pity. I like the way the Fender system sounds, but I do think that Dynadio system was balanced just a little bit better than this. Let's take a quick look around the system. We have our track forward and backward buttons right over here. You can also do that from the steering wheel. Our band button is how we switch from AM to FM to Sirius XM satellite radio. And one note is that this system does not support HD radio, but you do find that in the brand new system on the Volkswagen Golf. Media takes us over to our multimedia device interface. It's where we can go from disk to SD card, auxiliary input, MDI input, or Bluetooth. We have a fairly stereotypical Bluetooth phone interface right over here. We have direct access buttons to our call lists, inbound, outbound, phone book. We also have a dial pad right there, and you can touch screen dial on this system, which does make it a little bit handy. Right down here we have our power and volume knob. These two buttons are contextual buttons, so you can see right now it's a delete button. You can also touch the delete button right there if you prefer. We have our rotary selector knob, and as you can see, you can use that to select options in the system. Back button right over there, which we'll use to go back to this dial interface. We have our setup button. This is for system and certain limited vehicle settings. Mute, nav button. The I button right over here repeats your navigation instruction if one is applicable, and then we have an eject button for this single slot optical drive right up top. Like most Volkswagen systems, we do not have voice commands to control our media library, but as you can see right here, we do have full access to our artists, playlists, albums, genres, etc. on this system. However, navigating around them is a little bit sluggish. So if I pull, for instance, up a dynamic library here, and we scroll down, you can see that it does take a decent amount of time for this system to load. So I'll go down this list and then say that's the track I want. It does take a little bit of a time for that to actually load. You can select it and then it will start playing. Using the contextual buttons, we do of course have access to a scan, mix folder, mix all, repeat tracks, etc. If we move on over to our selection menu, the Bluetooth interface did work fairly well with my iPhone 5. However, it does not automatically pair when you automatically pair your cell phone with this system. Cell phone pairing is somewhat unintuitive because it is done using the display in between the speedometer and tachometer. It's not done using this interface in the dashboard. If we move on over to the nav system, you can see that we do have a fairly basic navigation interface right here. It's not as snappy as the new system that you'll find in the 2015 Golf, but it does respond fairly well overall. Entering an address into this system is relatively easy. We do use the touchscreen buttons, or you can use this knob. We'll enter one here, for instance. It does not use a QWERTY keyboard layout. That is one thing to keep in mind. So if you are used to a traditional computer keyboard layout, this is a little bit less intuitive. There we go.
The route is being calculated.
As you can see, the route calculation is relatively snappy. Right over here we do have an SD card slot, so if you do have music on an SD card, you can pop it right in there, and you do not need to remove anything from the navigation system. The navigation data is not kept on an SD card, so it is very handy. Over on the setup menu, we can control our route options, announcement volume, day-night mode, which point of interest are on the map, whether you want the system to auto-zoom. It auto-zooms in and out very much like Garmin navigation systems, whether you want it to display speed limit information, etc. The setup button is contextual, so if we're over here in the Sirius XM interface and we hit the setup button, here we get radio settings. As you can see, delete presets, delete AM/FM presets, your Sirius ID, etc. If we're over here on the media option, we get relatively similar options. We can scan, mix, we get our auxiliary volume, and we get our MDI volume input. Overall, this particular infotainment and navigation system comes in towards the bottom of the pack in this compact crossover segment. Toyota has really been bringing their Entune systems with voice commands and snappier interfaces and larger screens to pretty much every product in their lineup, including the RAV4, which does compete with this Tiguan. Ford, of course, has their touchscreen infotainment system known as My Ford Touch. It is laggy, it does crash every now and then, but it offers more features than you'll find in this system. Chrysler's Uconnect is now offered in the Cherokee. It does a reasonable impression of My Ford Touch without the crashing. General Motors even has their latest infotainment and navigation system, which is one of my favorites. It's relatively basic compared to the Ford and the Chrysler system, but it's very snappy and the voice commands are very elegant. Honda does seem to be bringing down their latest infotainment systems, which we do expect to be put into the CR-V at some point soon. Even so, I rank the system just about the same as that Honda CR-V infotainment system. Thanks for taking the time to check out this video. Go ahead and click that subscribe banner at the bottom of your screen so you can be updated on all of my latest videos, including the full review of the 2014 Volkswagen Tiguan SUV. Go ahead and find me over at facebook.com/AlexandAutos, and you can always email your questions to alex@alexandautos.com. I'll see you next week.